Hey guys, what's going on? So in my video last week, I mentioned that I was going to talk about Attack of the Clones this week. And this video is not going to be scripted. I'm just kind of going to let my thoughts flow and speak about some points that I've wanted to talk about for a long time, but obviously I didn't have a YouTube channel and I wasn't really putting myself out there that much. So I'm just kind of really going to let my thoughts go and talk about some things that have always bothered me about this film. And at the end, I figured it would be fun to finish off with me ranking my favorite Star Wars films. Quick side note before we get started, I'm not one for gatekeeping. Like, if you love this film, more power to you, I'm happy for you. This is just my personal opinion, don't take it too seriously, it's just a bit of fun, and at the end of the day, you know, we're all here because we're Star Wars fans, so let's just be nice to each other and not gatekeep and let people like what they like. Now, with that said, in my opinion, Attack of the Clones is the worst Star Wars film. Now, I realise that the prequels have built up a very strong fan base, and trust me, I'm part of that fan base. I grew up in the prequel era. I'm 23 years old, so I was the perfect age for these films. Growing up, The Phantom Menace was one of my favourite films. I used to jump around my living room pretending I was Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I am by no means here to kick the prequel trilogy. But the one film in that trilogy that just doesn't sit right with me is Attack of the Clones. But like I said, I'm going to do my best to keep this light because I've already made a semi-negative video about my opinions on a recent Star Wars trilogy, and I don't want this to come across like I'm hating because I genuinely do love Star Wars. But with that said, let's get into, I'd say, the two big problems with this film, and they are the dialogue and some of the CGI. Now, granted, this film came out in 2002, but this was that era from like 1999 to maybe like 2005, where directors and filmmakers thought that they could use CGI more than they actually could. The technology wasn't quite there yet. I mean, for instance, even now, people are being digitally de-aged and digitally put in films that they weren't even present for, and I still don't think that it's quite perfect yet. So back in 2002, you can imagine the difference. Now, I have a lot of respect for George Lucas for wanting to push things forward and advance things in the CGI realm, but like I said, the technology just wasn't quite there yet. Now, I'm going to circle back around to the CGI in a second, because the thing that I want to touch on first is the dialogue. Okay, so I believe that everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say the dialogue sucks in this film. So I'm going to give 3 examples of just how bad the dialogue is. I mean, it's truly cringeworthy. And I know George Lucas recently came out and defended the dialogue and said it's supposed to be quite corny, but I mean, come on, man. Let's just get into these examples and then move on. So let's start with the iconic "Sorry, m'lady" line. Now, despite the fact that Anakin sounds like a big baby prior to this, complaining about how Obi-Wan's overly critical, the "Sorry, m'lady" line is the creepiest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Even the little grin that he pulls after she walks away. I mean, ugh. Let's move on.
Sorry, m'lady.
Now, I know we started things off with a pretty cringe one, so I want to talk about one that's just bugged me. You know, I'm not sure if everyone has this problem, but it's Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. Now, Anakin, I can understand why he's mad, because he wants to get out of Obi-Wan's shadow, and he feels like he's going to be the most powerful Jedi ever.
I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I will even learn to stop people from dying.
And Obi-Wan, it comes across like Obi-Wan's holding him back, and they constantly argue and bicker, and this always bothered me, because we're supposed to believe that these guys were so close and they were almost like brothers. Now granted, brothers argue, but there's even points in this movie where it looks like they don't even like each other. I mean, all Anakin does is complain about him, and all Obi-Wan does is put Anakin down. It's just always bothered me. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. Now, this actually does get better in Revenge of the Sith. Like, in Revenge of the Sith, I believe that they were friends, and it does look like they had a great relationship, but it's not evident in this film. Anyways, on to the next point. So I'm going to switch things up here and choose the scene where Padme finally declares her love for Anakin.
I truly, deeply love you.
I mean, who speaks like this? Nobody speaks like this. I truly, deeply love you. I mean, could you not have just said that you loved him and kissed and then moved on? I mean, Jesus Christ. Now, obviously, there's way more examples of terrible dialogue in this film.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I hate them!
I mean, it was enough for George Lucas to come out and actually defend it, so there's clearly issues there. But yeah, like I said, if you like this film, you like it. I mean, I'm not such a big fan of it, but yeah, you know, I'm not gonna hate on you guys for liking it. The dialogue is a bit shaky. Now next, on to the final point, the CGI. Now, there's plenty of examples of terrible CGI. I mean, there's people walking down hallways that seemingly go nowhere and they just look like cartoon backgrounds. But there's one scene in particular that I want to talk about that I feel sums up the overuse of CGI. I want to give a quick shout out to Dexter Jettster, and when Anakin walks on that giant testicle. I mean, why did we need that scene? Why does he need to jump up and down on a massive testicle? But the scene I'm referring to is the dinner scene. Whew. Right. Do I have a lot to say about this scene? I mean, let's get the obvious out the way first. Let's start with the fact that they're eating a pear with a knife and fork. I mean, okay. But let's just watch what happens here. Okay, now I don't want to get too political about fucking fruit. But why on earth did you CGI a pear? Now, I'm from the UK, in case you didn't know. It would cost about 30 pence for a fucking pear. Put it on a piece of string and just move it across the room. It would have cost you, oh my god, it would have cost you, I can't comprehend this scene, guys. Like, it would literally have saved them so much money to just have a guy in a green screen suit just walk the pear across the room. I mean, it's a fucking pear. Why is this scene in the film? Like, seriously, what? The knife and fork, the fucking pear. I mean, look at the way she fucking eats it. It doesn't even, oh my god. Oh my, yeah. Right, let's rank the Star Wars films. Okay, so in dead last, for reasons just mentioned, Attack of the Clones. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, you know why. Next to that is Solo. Now, I don't hate this movie by any means. I just felt like it was a bit of a safe bet by Lucasfilm and Disney. I didn't push anything forward. It didn't do anything that offended me. It just kind of exists. And that's why it's so low on my list. I like a film to add something or, you know, really make me feel something. And Solo didn't. It just kind of came out and I was like, yeah, this is fine. After that is The Phantom Menace. Now, this is a film that I absolutely adored as a kid, and a part of me still loves it to this day, and I don't want to get too nostalgic, but like, yeah, I love this film as a kid, but I'm aware that it does have issues, and it's not my favourite. Like, Star Wars films have come and gone that I've liked more. And just because a film is so low down my list doesn't mean that I hate it. It's just my favourites and where I position it. And yeah, as much as I love The Phantom Menace, it's just not that high up on my list. Next up is The Last Jedi. Now, this was a film that I spoke about last week in my Is the Sequel Trilogy Bad video, so check that out if you're interested. But this is a film that I'm still unsure whether or not I actually like. I mean, Jesus Christ, what a film. I mean, did this fuck things up or what? But it's definitely not in my top 5. Like, I still don't even know if I like this film, god damn. It's certainly not the worst Star Wars film, but in my opinion, it's not the best either. Okay, number 6 is The Revenge of the Sith. I loved this film as a kid, and I still love it today. I mean, the battle sequences are fucking incredible. Obi-Wan versus Anakin on Mustafar is probably one of the best Star Wars battles ever. It goes for a little bit too long, but it's fucking great. Can't take that away. But again, it's plagued by some of the tropes that the prequel trilogy kind of implemented. The dialogue, some of the CGI. So, in my opinion, it's just not up there for me. It comes in at number 6, which is respectable. And yeah, I don't hate the prequels. I want to make that very clear. I do love them. They're my era of Star Wars films. Next up, Rogue One. Now, I really loved Rogue One. I like the fact that we got something a little bit different from Star Wars. And that Darth Vader scene at the end, holy shit. That was a great scene. Yeah, I love the fact that we got something a little bit different, and it was a nice change of pace for Star Wars, and I really loved it. Well, let me know what you guys think of that film, because I heard that quite a lot of people thought it was a bit of a slow burn, which I kind of agree with. It is a bit of a slog, like, it takes a little minute to get going, but when it all comes together, god damn, is this film great. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, though. Okay, well into top 5 territory now. In at number 4, The Force Awakens. Now, I bet some people are going to be in shock that it's so high up on my list, but I loved this film. I think I saw it just at the perfect time. You know, I was 18, with a couple of friends, went to see it, couldn't wait for the new Star Wars film, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Like, it was a great reintroduction to the franchise, but again, I discussed this in my video last week, so if you want to see my thoughts on it, check that out. But yeah, just really loved it, and in my opinion, it's in my personal top 5, in at number 4. So yeah, let me know what you think of that also in the comment section below. Okay, so I don't really have a number 3. I've kind of got a joint 2, and that is A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. They're kind of joint 2nd and 3rd. It would switch if you asked me at different times on different days. I love them both, you know, both the opening and closing chapters in the original trilogy, both great films. I think if you pressed me like gun to my head, I'd maybe slightly prefer Return of the Jedi, but yeah, I mean, they're too close to call. Number one, of course, is Empire Strikes Back. Now, I know a lot of the older Star Wars fans will probably be of this opinion, but goddamn, is this film great. I mean, the twist, it's just, I mean, this is probably one of the greatest films ever made, and it bums me out, you know, that the way Anakin was kind of characterized in Attack of the Clones, because, you know, you see in Empire Strikes Back that Darth Vader is one of the greatest film villains of all time, and that's why it bothers me so much that Anakin's such a big baby in Attack of the Clones, because the characters are just two completely different characters. Now, granted, they've aged and one of them has been absolutely barbecued, but, you know, they just don't seem like Anakin from Attack of the Clones would grow into be this menacing, amazing figure. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Let me know how you rank the Star Wars films below. Leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. Subscribe if you want to see more Star Wars stuff. Don't forget to check out my Lord of the Rings video. Part 2 is coming this week. See you in the next one, guys. Peace.